Hi guys, we're going to do a video on solving inequalities. This is very similar to the video on solving equations, 1 and 2 step equations, except now we have an inequality. We have a less than or equal to, greater than, and greater than or equal to. You read it from left to right. So our first inequality is 2x is greater than or equal to 10. So just like a one-step inequality, you're going to divide both sides by 2 because this is multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So x is greater than or equal to 5. If you were to graph this, and a lot of times you will have to graph it, you have a number line. We're going to put 5 on a number line. 0 would be here, right, on a number line. So since this is x10 or x is greater than or equal to, I'll check another color. We're going to fill in the circle over the number 5, and our arrow would go this way, right? If it's greater than or equal to, it's a solid circle because it's equal to the number. If it's just greater, then it would be open. Less than or equal to, it would be solid. Less than would be open. Greater goes this way. Less than goes this way. This is x is greater than or equal to 5. So on 5, it's the circle and it's filled in and it goes to the right. So again, one-step equation. If this was just an equation, bottom number of a fraction, multiply both sides by 4. This goes to just x is greater than 5 times 4, 20. On a number line, we have 20 here. 0 would be over here. Instead of drawing the circle on it, I'm going to do above it. Open circle, and it's greater than. So this means that x can be any number greater than 20. So x can be 21, x can be 25, 30, 50, 1,000, 1,000,000. X can be any of these numbers. It just can't be 20 or anything less. So one step, x minus 5 is less than or equal to 15. I'm going to add 5. X is less than or equal to 20. So on this one, on the number line, 20 is here, 0 is here. So at the 20, filled in, solid circle because it's equal to, and x is anything less than 20 or equal to 20. So x can be 20 this time. This is why we filled in the circle. And x can be 19, 18, right? X can be 10, 0, negative 20, or in negative 1,000,000, anything to that side. One step, subtract 6. X is less than 4. Number line. Find 4. Find 0. Open circle, and it goes this way. X is less than 4. So x can be 2, 0, negative 2, negative 4, any of these numbers. So the only difference between solving inequalities and solving equations is when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to change the sign. This is a one-step equation where I'm going to divide by negative 2 because it's a one-step equation. And divided by negative 2 on both sides. This cancels. I have x. 20 divided by negative 2 is negative 10. But because I divided by a negative, I divided by a negative 2, this sign has to be flipped. And then I can graph it. So negative 10 is here. 0 is here. X is greater than or equal to negative 10, so solid. And it goes this way. So here, negative x over 5 is greater than 2. This is negative, so I'm going to have to multiply by negative. And since I multiplied by a negative, right, I multiplied by a -5, this cancels. This is -10, but since I multiplied by a -5, I have to flip the sign. So number line, -10's here, 0's here, open circle, and it's anything less than -10. So I have this one here. I'm going to multiply both sides by 4, right? Bottom number of a fraction, multiply. That gives me x, and that gives me -20. I multiply by +4, so I don't have to change the sign. You only flip the sign if we go back. I multiply by a -5. You only flip the sign if you multiply by a negative or divide by a negative. What this number starts with doesn't matter. It's only the number that you multiply by. So graphing this, -20, 0, x is greater than -20. Greater than or equal to, so it's got to be filled in. So this one I'm going to divide by 2, right? I'm dividing by a +2, so I don't have to flip the sign. And my number line, -50, 0, solid, and it goes this way. The only other thing that we need to do is, I'm going to go here, 5, 6, is understand that some questions are going to ask if x is less than 5, can x be these numbers? If x is less than 5, can x be 2? Yes, x can be 2, but let's say we didn't understand how it works. If we drew our number line, we know that x can be anything less than 5. 2's here, so x can be 2. 3's here, x can be 3. 4's here, x can be 4. But because it's just x is less than 5, x can't be 5 and it can't be 6, right? Open circle, so that means the number can't be included, and 6 would be greater than 5, so that's not included. Here's another example of that. X is greater than or equal to 2, so on our number line, 2 is included in anything more. So 1's here, so it can't be 1, but it can be 2 because that's included. And of course, it can be 3 and 4 because they're greater than 2. So x could be in these 3 choices. So last one, this one that you can't see is -4. I'll put it here, -4. So x is less than or equal to -4. So let's draw our number line. -4 is here. It includes -4 and it goes this way. So -3 would be here. -3 is greater than -4, so it can't be this. 0 is here, so it can't be this. -5 and -6 are here. They are less than -4, so these are choices, and -4 is a choice. The only other thing is I have one more example of, I have an example of multi-step inequality, which is the same as a multi-step equation. The only difference is there's an inequality instead. So let's do -16, -36. I'll change that. So we have -2 times the quantity of 4x plus 10 is greater than -36. So just like a multi-step equation, I'm going to start with distribution. -8x minus 20 is greater than -36. I start with distribution. Now I'm going to move this -20 over by plus 20. I get -8x is greater than -16. And now I'm going to have to divide by the number in front of x. I'm going to divide by -8. Because I divided by a negative, this is negative, I have to flip my sign. And that would, x is less than 2. That would be my answer. On a number line, 2, 0, 0, 0, x is less than 2. So again, if you understand solving multi-step equations, you'll understand how to solve multi-step inequalities. Same thing. I'm going to move my -10 over because that's what I do. That's what you do. I have negative x over 4 is greater than 2. Got a -4, so that means I got to multiply both sides by -4. And I have x equals -8. I flipped the sign because that's a -4. So I had to change my sign. And if I was to graph it, -8, 0's here, open circle, less than. All right, so all I wanted to do is go over that again. Yeah, hopefully that helped, and I'll talk to you later.